From the banks of the Allegheny to the shores of Jersey, welcome to Film Bits, Two Cups of Joe. Hey everybody, we're back. It's Joe number one this time and Joe number two.
How you doing, everyone? Thanks for joining us once again.
And let us not tarry, Joe. We're going to jump right back into Reservoir Dogs. This is episode 3. When last we left, Mr. Pink had just arrived at this warehouse kind of structure where Mr. White and Mr. Orange were. All right? So let's go ahead and fire it up, Joe.
I don't think we got set up. I know we got set up. I mean, really, seriously, where did all those cops come from, huh? One minute they're not there, and the next minute they're there? I didn't hear any sirens. The alarm went off, okay? When an alarm goes off, you got an average of 4 minutes response time. Unless a patrol car is cruising that street at that particular moment, you got 4 minutes before they can realistically respond. And in 1 minute, there were 17 blue boys out there, all wanted for bear, all knowing exactly what the fuck they were doing, and they were all just there. Remember that second wave that showed up in the cars, okay? Those are the ones responding to the alarm then, but those first motherfuckers, I'm telling you, man, they were there and they were waiting for us. Haven't you fucking thought about this?
I haven't had a chance to think. First, I was just trying to get the fuck out of there. And after we got away, I've just been dealing with him.
You better start fucking thinking about it, man, because that's all I'm thinking about, man. I wasn't even gonna come here. I was gonna just drive off, man, because whoever said something else about this place, of course, man, there'll be cops coming here right.
Okay, so just a couple things here. I like this setup right here. I think it's interesting. We're in this warehouse, and for whatever reason, Tarantino has staged this in this wide shot so that we can see the door between Pink and White. We can see the open door that is leading up from the ramp. And then we can look inside where there is another, like a corridor for a room, another opening for a room, and then there's another open portion there. And then we've got a chair to the left, and then we see another chair. There's a chair in the background, looking at the props, just trying to analyze, trying to look and see, what might be told. But we were in pretty closer shots earlier, not this wide. And so I just like the composition of this. I think this just really looks kind of cool.
Yeah, and I just like the way that Tarantino starts introducing different elements to you and different pieces of the story when he decides to. And as you said, we're in this warehouse. He's giving you all these great shots and weird angles. And then little by little, he's divulging to you things that have seemingly gone wrong, and also giving us an insight to the characters as well, because how does Mr. Pink know how long it should take for a cop to respond to an alarm? So little things like that are giving us more insight as to exactly the kind of characters we're dealing with here.
Right. I wanted to say something to that too, but I forgot what it was, so I'll say this, and maybe I'll remember down the road. This building used to be a mortuary and undertaker's establishment. Okay, so that's what Quentin Tarantino, I forget how he got use of this, but that's what it is. And the rest, outside of cutaways that are flashbacks, the rest of the film, of course, is going to take place in here or in the immediate outside of here. Let's go ahead and fire it back up.
Right now.
Let's go in the other room. Hey, in there. Okay? I'll be right there looking at you. I'm right here looking at you, okay? Relax. Come on, right down. Right over there.
The fuck am I doing here, man? You know what I felt funny about this job right off? As soon as I felt that, I should have said no thank you and walked, but I didn't fucking listen. It was like that every time I ever got caught buying weed. Same thing, man. I didn't trust the guy. I felt funny about him, but I wanted to believe him, Because if he's not lying to me, if it really is tie stick, then it's great, right? But no, it's never tie stick. And I always said if I felt that way about a job, I fucking walked. And I didn't. I didn't get the fucking money.
Understand. I need you cool.
All right, so this is an interesting decision by Tarantino. We start off hearing the conversation, but we are not in the same room. We start off in this room with like this broken toilet and parts of it, and then we get a camera movement that goes over and puts us in the hall, so we're still not in the same room, but we are at least now looking at Mr. White, and we can still hear Pink's voice, but we're just focused on Mr. White. I find that rather interesting. And also, Joe, if you look up hanging on the wall there is a white garment and a pink garment. and those two guys are having a discussion. So I'm pretty sure the placement of that and that color scheme is purposeful for Tarantino. What he's doing with it, I don't really know, other than just having some fun.
No, and it continues with that theme that we talked about from the first episode about how the way he's kind of done the camera placement is almost as if like we're eavesdropping on all these conversations. And it's the same thing here. It feels like you're hiding down the hallway, trying to hear what they're saying and trying to eavesdrop on their conversation. And again, not giving you the full spectrum, and almost kind of adds to the anticipation and the excitement of the conversation itself.
Good, good. All right, let's pick it back up.
Are you cool?
I am cool.
I always want to know what that sound is. What did he do till he got cool? Like, he wasn't cool, you hear a sound, and then now he's cool.
Yep. It never really lets us know everything. Yeah, fix your hair. That's important right now.
Relax. Have a cigarette.
I quit.
All right.
Why, you got one?
Still staying in this very long, narrow shot. And I think some things Joe was saying earlier are spot on as to why. And we have this odd diegetic sound in the background. It seems like it's water running or something. And now we come in close. Now we get into the room with them and into the medium shot.
Okay. Let's go through what happened. Okay. We're in the place, everything's going fine. Then the alarm gets tripped. I turn around and all these cops are outside. You're right, Damn, I blink my eyes and they're there. Everybody starts going apeshit. And Mr. Blunt starts to shoot all the immigrants.
That's not correct.
What's wrong with it?
Okay. The cops did not show up after the alarm went off. Right? The cops didn't show up until after Mr. Blunt started shooting everybody.
As soon as I heard the alarm, I saw the
No,
cops.
man, I'm telling you, it wasn't that soon, okay? They didn't let their presence be known until after Mr. Blonde became a madman, all right? I'm not saying they weren't there. I'm saying they were there. But they didn't make their move until after Mr. Blonde started shooting everybody. I mean, that's how I know we were set up. Come on, Mr. White, I mean, you can see that, can't you?
Enough of this Mr. White shit.
Wait, man. Don't tell me your fucking name, man. I don't want to know it. Jesus Christ, I ain't gonna tell you mine.
You're right, this is bad.
All right. Now, this shot has been here a while. We've been here a while. Notice the gap between the two actors, and notice that we have that mirror, and we're seeing that reflection of Mr. White. I can't tell you exactly why this is going on or even my interpretation of it. All I can tell you is that there's some significance here. We don't need to see that reflection. The gap between the actors is just enough so we get a nice shot of that reflection. So Tarantino is doing something here with this mirror. People that are watching this can suppose what that might be.
Well, the other thing that I've kind of picked up on here is that even though at this point we can kind of piece together these aren't the nicest of individuals, they do consider themselves to be professionals of whatever they're at. And even here, they're kind of trying to work out exactly what went down and trying to piece it together minute by minute, almost like a detective would at a crime scene, trying to figure out exactly what went wrong in this situation. But Mr. White almost slips here. Almost. He comes close until Pink has to drag him back in.
Let's jump back in.
How did you get out?
I shot my way out. Everybody started shooting, so I blasted my way out of there.
And now we get to see something.
Move it! Get out of the way! Get the fuck out of the way!
One of the few times we haven't been inside of an establishment.
Right. Right.
Jesus Christ, what the fuck is your problem, man? Fucking asshole! Look out! Get the fuck out!
tagged a couple of cops. Did you kill anybody?
A few cops.
No real people?
Just cops.
All right, so a couple things. I think once again Tarantino's having some fun with us. If we look at those soap bottles on the back there, we see 3 pink soap bottles, we see 1 white soap bottle, and right as Mr. Pink is getting ready to sit down, there are some orange soap bottles as well. So once again, just a subtle subconscious way of reinforcing the 3 characters by their color names that we have in there, and uh, Tarantino has stated he wanted this to be a heist film where we never actually get to see the heist. We never will see the heist. We'll hear them talk about it. We'll see like the cutaway there, the flashback, and we'll see others. So action kind of around the heist. But whatever the heist was, whatever they were doing, we're never going to see that motion, which is really kind of compelling because we're drawn in, but we're never going to actually see the big moment, if you will.
I think that's an interesting take too, because in most of your classic heist movies or robbery movies or what have you, um, the whole movie is usually based around the events leading up to the big heist,
Right.
and then that's the big score at the end. Whereas here, we're kind of picking up after all that and piecing everything together that went wrong
Right.
with this particular job. So it's an interesting taste on a classic genre.
Let's start it back up.
Man, could you believe Mr. Blonde?
That was the most insane fucking thing I've ever seen. Why the fuck would Joe hire a guy like that?
I mean, I don't want to kill anybody. If I gotta get out that door and you're standing in my way, one way or the other, you're getting out of my way.
That's the way I look at it. Choice between doing 10 years, taking out some stupid motherfucker. Ain't no choice at all. But I ain't no madman either. What the fuck was Joe thinking? Can't work with a guy like that. We're awful goddamn lucky he didn't tag us when he shot the place up. I came this close to taking his ass out myself.
I mean, everybody panics. Everybody. Things get tense. It's human nature. You panic. I don't care what your name is. You can't help it. Fuck, man. You panic on the inside. In your head, And you give yourself a couple of seconds. You get a hold of the situation. You deal with it. What you don't do, you start shooting up the place and start killing people.
No, what you're supposed to do is act like a fucking professional. Psychopath ain't a professional. Can't work with a psychopath. You don't know what those sick assholes are going to do next. I mean, Jesus Christ, how old do you think that black girl was? 20? Maybe 21?
If that. Hey, look, did you see what happened to anybody else?
Me and Orange jumped in the car, ground floored it. After that, I don't know what went down.
Well, at that point, it was every man for himself, man. As far as Mr. Blonde and Mr. Blue are concerned, I ain't got the foggiest, because once I got out, I never looked back.
What do you think?
What do I think? I mean, the cops either caught him or killed him.
Got a chance to punch through, you found a hole.
Yeah, and that was a fucking miracle. But even if they did get away, then where the fuck are they?
You don't think it's possible one of them got hold of diamonds and...
No way.
You're so sure.
I got the diamonds.
That's my boy. Where?
I stashed them. Look, if you want to come with me, let's go get them right now. Right this second, man, because I think staying here, man, we should have our fucking heads examined.
And that was the plan. And me here.
Well, then where the fuck is everybody? I say the plan becomes null and void once we find out we got a rat in the house. We ain't got the slightest fucking idea what happened to Mr. Blonde and Mr. Blue. I mean, they could both be dead, or maybe they're arrested. The cops could have them right now at the station house, sweating them down. Yeah, they don't know our names, but they could be singing about this place.
Pause it.
Joe, maybe you can give me some insight on this because you're a little bit older than I am here. So when Mr. White takes out his lighter, right?
Yeah.
And he flicks it open.
Yeah.
He's sitting there snapping.
Yeah.
At the lighter. And then he finally actually flicks it to light the cigarette.
Yeah.
I've never ever understood. Every time I've watched the movie, why he was sitting there snapping first.
I think if I'm not, and I'm not a smoker, but if I'm not mistaken, once you flipped one of those nicer lighters up, they were supposed to light. So as soon as you pop that lid, it should have lit. And because it didn't, he's just kind of like snapping, like trying to coax it to light. All right, so it's just a little thing he's doing to get it to light. And neat little affectation that Harvey Keitel probably brought to the character that we see use a couple times. Okay, so two things here. Once again, Mr. White in a freaking mirror. All right, so maybe we really ought to be paying attention to this stuff. Secondly, as we have discussed, Tarantino is well known for his dialogue. This is a long scene with these two guys just talking. Feels very much like a play because it's just dialogue. One thing they're doing is they're dumping a lot of plot and events into us as an audience so we can piece some things together. They're advancing their characters, but it's hard to do something like this and not just have things be kind of static. Tarantino moves a few shots around, but we all are just sitting through this. And outside of the fun little things with the colors, like the soap and the coats, or Mr. White in the mirror, there's, I don't think, a ton going on here that I pick up on. Now, there are far better eyes than mine, but there's not a lot jumping out at me.
You know, I think part of him does that on purpose because, like you said, aside from the fun little colors and stuff, it's primarily a beige room and things are very dull. But I think that kind of forces us to really focus in on the dialogue and pay attention to what's being said because, as you said, it's a long dialogue, but a lot of plot information gets dropped in this conversation between these two. Things about Mr. Blonde, about where the heist went wrong, about where the loot is right now. Like, there's a lot that gets dropped in this little conversation here.
Let's pick it back up.
I swear to God, I think I'm fucking jinxed.
What?
2 jumps back, it was a 4-man job. I discovered one of the team was an undercover cop.
Oh, shit.
Thank God we discovered in time. I forget the whole thing, just walk the fuck away from me.
So who's the rat this time?
We see Keitel in the side mirror now.
Mr. Brown? Joe?
Don't see pink in it.
You know, listen, I mean, Joe set this whole thing up. Maybe he set it up to set
I don't buy it. Me and Joe go back a long time. I can tell you definitely Joe don't know a fucking thing about this bullshit.
Hey, look, I've known Joe since I was a kid, okay? And me saying he definitely had nothing to do with it is ridiculous. I mean, I can say I definitely didn't do it because I know what I did or I didn't do. But I cannot definitely say that about anybody else because I don't definitely know. For all I know, you're the rat.
For all I know, you're the fucking rat.
All right, now you're using your fucking head. I mean, for all we know, he's the rat.
Hey, that kid in there is dying from a fucking bullet I saw him take. So don't you be calling him a rat.
Look, I'm right, okay? Somebody's a fucking rat. Where's the commode in this dungeon? I gotta take a squirt.
Go down the hall, make a left, go up the stairs, and make a right.
By the way, how's Alabama?
Alabama. I haven't seen Bama over 1.5 years.
I thought you two were a team.
We worked for a little while. Did about 4 jobs together. Then decided to call it quits.
Why?
You push that woman-man thing too long, and it gets to you after a while.
What's she doing now?
She hooked up with Frank McGarr. They've done a couple of jobs together. Hell of a woman. Good little thief. So, explain the telegram.
5-man job. Busted in and busted out of a diamond wholesalers.
Can you move the ice afterwards? I don't know nobody that can move ice.
No problem. We got guys waiting for it. Hey, what happened to Marcelo Spivey? Didn't he always move your ice?
He's doing 20 years in Susanville.
20 years, holy God. What for?
Bad luck.
I guess you can say that again.
What's the exposure like?
2 minutes tops, but it's a tough 2 minutes. Daylight during business hours, dealing with the crowd. But you'll have the guys to deal with the crowd.
How many employees?
I'd say around 20. Security pretty lax. They most usually just deal in boxes. You know, uncut stones from the Diamond Syndicate. But on this particular day, they're getting a shipment of polished stones from Israel. They're like a way station, you know? They get picked up the next day and sent to Vermont.
No, they're not. What's the cut, Papa?
Juicy, Junior. Real juicy.
Couple things of the Tarantino mythos here. This, of course, is his first screenplay. He writes the screenplay for True Romance, and Patricia Arquette plays a character known as Alabama in True Romance. There's lots of names that pop up in a variety of films in Tarantino's universe. Interestingly, they talk about the selling of the diamonds to a Marcellus Wiley, right? Yeah, but it's Marcellus Wallace in Pulp Fiction. But I'm thinking that Tarantino loved that name Marcellus, just changed the surname, and there we have our Marcellus connection as well. So he's already kind of laying the seeds for future characters and names going down the road. And Mr. Blonde is, if I'm not mistaken, is connected to John Travolta's character in Pulp Fiction. I believe they're both brothers, or they could be. They share the same surname.
You know, it just makes sense because that's the way Tarantino seems to like to do things on an overall aspect, though. You know, he likes to use the same character names, the same plot themes. He likes to use the same actors a lot of the times that he feels comfortable with and that he knows work in certain roles and will make a movie go the direction he wants it to go. He likes to make sure his vision is going exactly where he sees it going.
We're going to jump back in, but where I stopped, we have again that long shot down the hall into the bathroom, into that mirror that Keitel has kept looking at. And the only reason I bring it up is because if you know anything about the rule of nines in photography, you split the screen into 9 segments, 3 at the top, 3 in the middle, 3 in the bottom. Think of like a tic-tac-toe board, right? And our eyes are naturally drawn to that middle box. And that's where that mirror is. It actually would be in the upper middle third. So he's doing something here. And maybe as we get a little later, we can talk about it some more if we see it come back. But he's doing an awful lot with that here. Let's jump back in.
Look, man, you do what you want. I'm out of here, man. I'm gonna check into a motel for a few days. You know, I'll lay low and I'll call Joe. Shit, did he fucking die on us? Huh? Is he dead or what?
He ain't dead.
What is it? Scared the fucking shit out of me, man. I thought he was dead for sure.
Without medical attention, he will die for sure.
What are we gonna do, man? We can't take him to a hospital.
Without medical attention, the man might not live through the night. The bullet in his belly is my fault. Now, while that might not mean jack shit to you, it means a hell of a lot to me.
Well, first things first, okay? Staying here is goofy. We gotta book up.
So what do you suggest we do? Go to a hotel? We got a guy shot in the belly. Can't walk. He bleeds like a stuck pig. And when he's awake, he screams in pain.
You got an idea? Spit it out.
Joe could help him. We could get in touch with Joe. Joe could get him to a doctor. Joe could get a doctor to come to see him.
Assuming we can trust Joe, how are we gonna get in touch with him? Huh?
Push in. We haven't seen Tarantino do that much. He's pushing in.
Even if he is on the up and up, I don't think he's gonna be too happy with us, okay? He planned a robbery and he's got a bloodbath on his hands now. He's got dead cops, dead robbers, dead civilians. Jesus Christ, I tend to doubt he's gonna have a lot of sympathy for our plight. I mean, if I was him, I'd try and put as much distance between me and this mess as humanly possible.
Before you got here, Mr. Orange was asking me to take him to a doctor, or a hospital. Now, I don't like the idea of turning him over to the cops. If we don't, he's gonna die. He begged me to do it.
Well, all right, then I guess we take him to a hospital. I mean, if that's what he said, let's do it. Since he don't know nothing about us, I say it's his decision.
Well, he knows little about me.
Why? Wait, you didn't tell him your name, did you?
I told him my first name and where I was from.
Why?
Told him where I was from a few days ago. It was just a natural conversation.
What was telling him your name when you weren't supposed to?
He asked. We had just gotten away from the cops. He just got shot. It was my fault he got shot. He's a fucking bloody mess. He's screaming. I swear to God, I thought he was gonna die right then and there. I'm trying to comfort him. Telling him not to worry, everything's gonna be okay, I'm gonna take care of him. And he asked me what my name was. I mean, the man was dying in my arms. What the fuck was I supposed to do? Tell him I'm sorry? I can't give out that fucking information. It's against the rules. I don't trust you enough. Or maybe I should have, but I couldn't. Fuck you and fuck Joe!
Yeah, I'm sure it was a very beautiful scene between you.
Don't fucking patronize me!
Question for you. Do they have a sheet on you where you're from?
Yeah!
Well, that's that then, man. I mean, Jesus Christ, I was worried about mugshot possibilities as it was. Now he knows A, your name, B, what you look like, C, where you're from, and D, what your specialty is. They're not gonna have to show him a hell of a lot of pictures for him to pick you out. I mean, that's it, right? You didn't tell him anything else that can narrow down the selection.
If I have to tell you again to back off, me and you are gonna go round and round.
We ain't taking him to a hospital.
We know he's gonna die.
And I'm very sad about that, but some fellas are lucky and some ain't. What the fuck you touching me for, man? You wanna fuck with me? I'll show you who you're fucking with.
You wanna shoot me, you little piece of shit? Go ahead, take a shot.
Fuck you, White. I didn't create this situation. I'm dealing with it. You're acting like a first-year fucking thief. I'm acting like a professional. They get him, they could get you. They get you, they get closer to me, and that can't happen. You're looking at me like it's my fault? I didn't tell him my name. I didn't tell him where I was from. Shit, 15 minutes ago, you almost told me your name. Your buddy there is stuck in a situation you created. So if you want to throw bad looks away, throw him at a mirror.
You kids shouldn't play so rough. Somebody's gonna start crying.
And enter Mr. Blonde.
All right, so that's where we're going to stop today, is with the entrance of Blonde. When they were first pointing guns at each other, that was one of the very early and classic movie posters of Reservoir Dogs, is White and Pink pointing guns at one another like that. That was a good one. And that's really all I have, except once again, so the two motifs that appeared in this, two or three motifs that appeared in this, was that long shot down the corridor, the mirror, and this mentioning of professional over and over again.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's brought it up more than once because apparently White hasn't followed the rules they set in place before they decided to do this whole heist, and that's definitely upsetting. Oh man, Mr. Pink, I'm sorry, I had a lapse there for a minute. It's definitely upsetting Mr. Pink because, as he stated, they put these rules in for multiple reasons, but one of the main ones being because if you slipped and told someone your name, they could link it back to the whole crew, and then things get ugly. Just another little interesting observation here, though. As they're sitting there with Mr. Orange bleeding out on the floor, Mr. Pink and Mr. White ready to shoot each other, Mr. Blonde has moseyed in with his drink in his hand, and he's sitting back as if things are fine, just sipping on his soda from whatever fast food chain he stopped at real quick, after apparently going nuts inside of a robbery. So, I mean, apparently Mr. Blonde's a lot more laid back than the rest of these guys are.
Indeed, he is. And I think where he stopped, and if you matched cups, you'd probably see I'm right. I think I read he stopped at the Big Kahuna Burger. Because his cup looks just like or not Sam Jackson's, but the cup Sam Jackson drinks from in Pulp Fiction. I don't know if they mention it or not, but the cups look exactly the same.
And it comes from a great line in Pulp Fiction, too.
Yeah, yeah, it does. All right, guys, so here's where we'll stop today. Mr. Blonde coming in. As you can imagine, the next segment probably is going to be chock full of info because we know the Blonde is a psychotic nut who shot a bunch of people up. And as Joe said, he seems pretty chill with all this going on.
Yeah, he doesn't seem too fazed by anything that has happened, really. It seems like it's just another day at work for Mr. Blonde. So he's an interesting character and definitely a different character compared to the ones we've had to deal with so far.
So for those of you that stopped by, hopefully you'll keep on with episode 4. I'd like to thank you for any time you spent with us. Joe, anything you have to say in parting?
Just a big thank you to everybody who stopped by, spent any time with us, and again, thank you to the man across from me who has made me a part of this. Greatly appreciated, sir.
Never a problem, man. I'm enjoying it. Now it's starting to pick up. Now we're gonna really see where this goes.
Yes, sir. I can't wait for the next few ones.
Yeah, me too. All right, guys, take care. We'll see you next time.